in. How is it going, everyone? Welcome to more Shift 2 Unleash. Still without a camera, but at least this time I purchased it. It's just that it has to arrive. But it is what it is. No camera needed because we're gonna be doing endurance anyways. I don't know how that's related, but no, I mean, ideally, you know, the camera will arrive when I already finish the game. That will be nice, but we will see. So endurance is here. Unfortunately, I don't really mind that these are long races. What I do mind is that there are 5 of them, and more even afterwards, so I'm not sure. I'll use the spider, at least start with the spider and see how it goes. Wait, what? Oh, that's fine, no. Oh, I thought the game bugged, but it didn't. It's fine, I bugged, I guess. So it's at 20... It's a 20 lap race in Road America. Well, at least Road America is very straightforward, I guess. You start quite from behind though. Usually you start in like 6th place at most, usually mostly 4th place, but here like all the way on the back. Not like it's gonna take a while to overtake everyone anyway, so... Alright. Mr. Roy, we meet again. No problem. Now, there's very valuable intel that I learned yesterday that... Let's assume... Fuck. But I should learn the intel of doing the corners properly, but... No, I mean... If you crash at any point, basically what happens is that you could lose a tire. And if you lose a tire under normal conditions, you wouldn't be able to continue driving. But if you reset the car with the button dedicated to that, you can actually properly respawn your tires, which is nice. It's pretty nice. So that basically makes the endurances completely free, because there is absolutely no way that you're gonna, you know, lose, right? There is no lose condition if you can just respawn the tires. And well, technically the lose condition will be to not get first place, but that's not an issue though. Yeah, I was just out to say, is there a pit stop? But no, the pit lane is completely blocked. You're not intended to go there, so yeah. Now the issue with this is that these are gonna be 2 minutes per lap, so that is effectively a 40-minute race. That's messed up, honestly. That's pretty messed up. I do think that this is the fastest car I have. Because I mean, using, you know, a car that is not that fast for this is not a good idea. But yeah, I don't think I have a faster. I mean, technically yes, the one on the drag races is faster, but I wouldn't expect that thing to drive better than this. Not to mention that top speed, well, in Road America I guess it's important enough, but the most important thing is acceleration, and this thing is the best when it comes to acceleration. So I think it is the most appropriate car to use with them. Now that I think about it, doing this in Road America is something. It's certainly something. Something tells me that it might have been a bad idea to try to go for 100% here. It's just that these endurance races, I guess, are not as exaggerated as they could be. Like, if they really wanted to, they could just put a 3-hour endurance race, and hey, maybe that's there on the group of races that I haven't seen yet, but I don't think that's the case. Or at least I want to believe that's not the case. And I'm not really sure if any of the tracks in here are even short. Because, well, the last one I know that is the Spa-Francorchamps, and that track is not short by any means. I feel like it would have been a lot more reasonable if some of these were short, but since all of these are pretty long tracks, I feel like they really went a little bit overboard. Just a little bit. I guess this is a good way to do filler until the camera arrives, which, speaking of camera, by the way, the camera, I tried something that I didn't try yesterday, that is basically unplugging it from the USB port it's in and plug it into another USB port. But yeah, that doesn't work. It's just that the camera is dead and that's the end of that, you know. Things come to its logical end, and the camera is no exception for that. So yeah, unfortunate, but was bound to happen eventually. Now I really do hope that it arrives in Saturday, because basically the camera that I purchased can arrive either on Saturday or on Monday. So I wonder which one it's gonna be. But yeah, Saturday will be good. What will be ideal is if it arrived today, but we cannot expect miracles. I mean, if I still live in Capital City, I probably could have had it today, but yeah, that's not the case. But yeah, I will definitely prefer getting mail, you know, late, rather than having to live in Capital City. It's something that I definitely will trade. Well, I did trade. I mean, I guess this is one of those cases where if I was a professional streamer, I would probably have multiple, you know, like multiple peripherals of a specific type, simply to replace it in case it goes badly. But I don't really have that. Well, I do have that with headphones, but not because I plan it or anything, but because you know, these headphones are a lot more comfortable than the ones I was using. So technically, if these things stop working, I could replace them right away until I buy a better alternative, I guess. And the same will happen with the keyboard, right? I mean, the keyboard I changed it because I didn't like the previous one, but you know. Technically with mouse I also have another one, but it's used by my family, so they will have to stop using a mouse for a little bit. Yeah, I guess, ironically, I might have a replacement of everything, peripheral-wise. Like, I also still have some of the other monitors that I used to use. So if one of these malfunctions, I could replace them. What else? Well, even the computer itself, I mean, the previous computer that I was using before I upgraded to the one I'm using right now, that one still exists. What I don't know if it's gonna turn on after being off for so long. You know, that I think that there are some computer parts that unless they are constantly in use, eventually they stop working. And I think that that's also the case for... well, for that computer. Also, why is the second place here so extremely ahead of everyone? Maybe it's another Porsche Spider. I mean, I could check by pressing pause, you know. Just that I'm not a fan of pausing in the middle of a race. It's just that this is an endurance, so, you know. It's a very long one, and it's not like I really have much chances of losing. Well, the way to lose here is if I get into a big accident. Well, no, it will have to be multiple big accidents, because knowing that I can just respawn the car, like one big accident I will recover in time. Maybe at least at the distance that the second place is at right now. If I get 3 big accidents, he will reach me. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, not to mention that Road America, if anything, is not a problematic track. It's, you know, like it's when you think of a circuit, like a racing circuit like this, Road America is precisely that. Like, there is a lot of space between the road and the wall, so chances are that you are not gonna hit the wall too fast, and if you go off track you're gonna recover. You might lose like 5 seconds or whatever, but it's fine. It will be a problem if it's an urban circuit. With an urban circuit, big accident and you're dead. And I mean, you can respawn, sure, but like, the point is that an accident in those is most likely gonna be catastrophic, while an accident here is like, who cares, right? Now, you know what will be pretty exciting? If after the endurance is done, the game crashes. Because when I was starting with GT3, I think, that's what happened. Like, I did the first race, the race ended, and while it was loading, the game crashed. It could happen here, though. I will say that if that happens, well, that shouldn't be a problem in itself, because when it happened with the GT3 race, it was okay. Like, you know, the result of the race save, like, it detected and remembered my victory. So if that happens, it should just be a minor inconvenience, since, you know, if it counts the race as a victory, then, well, I don't need to redo it, obviously. this is still a pretty wild thing for me to do. So I basically have to recalculate a little bit. If all 5 races are gonna be 40 minutes long, that means that the 5 races in total are gonna take like around 3 hours and a half if you count loading screens and all that shit. So that will basically be the entirety of the stream. Time very well spent, if you ask me. It's fine. I mean, I think that now that my camera is dead, it's a good excuse. You know? Because streaming any new game without a camera wouldn't feel good. And I mean, I do have a lot of games to play that I have already played before, so it wouldn't be a problem to play them without a camera. I would prefer if all the camera-less streams were in this game. Yeah. Well, in case anyone is interested, the camera that I purchased is it's a Logitech C922. Supposed to support 60 frames per second, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know if that's probably gonna make it wear down faster. Because I mean, pretty sure that a 60 frames per second camera is way more complex mechanically than a 30 frames per second one, like the one that I've been using all this time. So it's pretty possible that the new one is not gonna last as long as this one. But it's fine. I mean, if that has to be the case, then so be it. It probably will be the case. Though for most games, since I use this layout where the camera is super tiny, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. But not gonna be an issue, no, I meant to say not gonna be something you will notice anyways. The fact that it's 60 frames per second. There are some other games where I do have the camera be bigger, right? Also, I'm allowed to lap the rest of the cars. Or at least the rest of the cars that are not the second place. So that could legitimately make things quite interesting, you know? Because with something like that, it's like you're starting the race again. Not to mention that overtaking in this game is hard, so I don't discard getting into an accident, but that's fine too. Getting into an accident is whatever. I have, well, it said it there, like almost 30 seconds, half a minute of advantage over the second place, so I think that I'm more than fine, you know? Also, on an unrelated note, you know, today I started the stream 5 minutes late. Not because of the camera like yesterday, no, it's because, like, basically in my bathroom there is like an infestation of drain flies. Thankfully they are harmless mostly, but it's like, you know, You don't like to see all of that shit show up like that. So yeah, I had to kill most of the ones that I noticed, because essentially they were inside a drain, of course. And yeah, when I uncover one of the places that goes to the drain, all of them came out. Pretty nasty. I think I killed most of the ones that came out, but hey, maybe not. I don't know. It was quite a disaster. In fact, I will tell you that if the stream wasn't gonna start like that soon, I would have kept killing flies for probably more, like half an hour more. It's just... those things are a plague. And I don't even know how they are so... well, precisely why are they a plague? Like, how do they reproduce so fast? What do they even eat? Yeah, I don't know what they do, but they are extremely successful at multiplying themselves. Well, in case you have trouble with them, one thing that you should do is throw... wow. What a nice maneuver you did right there, mister. You should throw bleach at them. Well, not at them, rather at the drain. You throw bleach at the drain, and at least that will stop them from reproducing for a while. The ones that are already out, though, unfortunately, the best way to kill them is with your hands. It sounds nasty, but it's the fastest way to do it. And if they are out of reach, I guess you can use, I don't know, a racket or something. Because you know that poison is not that effective against them. You can kill a couple, yeah, but they are not as... it's not as effective as you would expect. Because in my case, for example, with poison spray, I managed to kill things like mosquitoes immediately. Like, I basically spray them with that, and 5 seconds afterwards they are already dying. But those things, that doesn't always happen like that, you know? Like, sometimes it doesn't work that way. And I don't know if that's because, I don't know, they are resistant to that sort of poison spray, or because they are actually not getting hit by it. Because they are extremely small. Like, unlike a mosquito that is relatively... it's not big compared to other big insects, but it's big enough to you know, be properly reached by poison spray, right? But yeah, drain flies are extremely small. Like, they are essentially smaller than a rice grain. Like, that's how small they are. Extremely small. But yeah, the point is that as small as they are extremely annoying, because they are extremely dumb. Like essentially, you know, they will fly into you, which is something that most insects wouldn't do because they are not stupid. These small flies do that, and that's most likely precisely because they are small. There are exceptions of, you know, living things that are small and yet manage a level of intelligence, but I think that all the energy that these flies have is spent in flying and not really on thinking. Well, I mean, animals in general don't really think that hard, but yeah. I mean, I guess the best example of a very small animal, I don't even know if it counts as an animal, but ants are the kind of animal that are very small and yet they manage a level of intelligence that is, you know, impressive, I guess, for their size. I mean, mostly it's they kind of go on autopilot. It's not like they are thinking in a complex way what they are doing, but I guess for insects their size it's still pretty impressive. So that's always nice to see. Ouch. Well, there goes my rear wing. Didn't want it anyways. So, I gotta say that the car looks a lot worse without a rear wing. It's fine. As I said before, if I manage to lose my tires, like respawning the car solves it, so I'm not really worried about accidents. I mean, I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about losing my position. I'm not worried about nothing. I guess I could say that I'm worried about, I don't know, like the lights going out. Because yeah, that will effectively fuck up the race. But on top of the fact that it will also not be very nice for my computer. But yeah, it is what it is. So I guess the objective for today will be doing all the endurances. I think it's a solid objective because if we're gonna do the endurances, might as well concentrate them all in one spot. It's just that I really don't know how messed up the endurances of the final event are gonna be. They are probably gonna be super messed up. But how would I know? Well, the only way to know is by actually unlocking it. Not sure how many races I need to do before unlocking it though. I mean, I don't think it will be enough doing it after this, but it will happen eventually. So, now that we are closer to the end of the race, 10 minutes... sorry, why did I say 10 minutes? I meant to say that 40 minutes is most likely not gonna be the total. It's most likely gonna be 35, 36, maybe 36. Closer to 37 though, but around there. So yeah, pretty close. Also, how is it going, BlackRock Stella? I'm just here doing an endurance because I don't have anything better to do, I guess. My camera is broken. So, I guess you could say this is a filler stream. Sorry for that. But yeah. This stream is basically a filler. It's when you're watching a show that is not a comedy normally, but the episode is basically a comedy because they don't want to advance the plot forward. Well, that's what this is, except this one is not even funny, but it's fine. At least you can hear the sound of the engine of the Porsche Spider. Sounds very powerful. It is very powerful. It's a wonderful engine. But it's a wonderful car. Probably the best car in the game, I would say. I mean, this car... I mean, I don't use it in GT3 and GT1 because I cannot do it. But in anything that I can use it basically does well. And in the only race that I struggle is when another opponent is using another Porsche Spider. Well, and then there is that weird oval race that also made me struggle. That oval race is an exception. Cannot count it as part of the rule. And we reached the half an hour mark of the race. That's pretty nice. But I originally expected that every race will take half an hour, but no. No, I'm not struggling with GT3, no. I already beat all of the GT3 races. No, what I said is except GT3 and GT1, because I cannot use this car there. I was saying that this car can beat everything, but it obviously cannot beat GT3 or GT1 because it's not a car of that category. No, GT3 I fully beat it. The only thing remaining... Well, there are some things remaining. But essentially the most important thing remaining is the final tournament of GT1, and that's because I want to save that for the end, since it's supposed to be officially the final event. So I'm basically doing everything else to reach 100% completion. But yeah. That includes endurances, unfortunately. As I say, this is a filler. So yeah, don't pay too much mind to it. It is a filler, mostly. Yeah, I just hope that the endurances that come after these 5 ones are not more than 20 laps. And they could, if they really wanted to, especially since they are supposed to be 3 races. If they wanted to make it proportional, they could make those 3 races 30 laps each. Or more, I mean. Not like there will have to be a limit. I just hope they are not that messed up. But they could be. If they really feel like it, they could be that messed up. And that will be a shame. I wanna check that as soon as I am able to. It's one of those things that you need to beat some races before being able to see. So I cannot see. But yeah, that's fine. I'll be able to see eventually. Also, it's pretty shocking how the second place here, it's still in a position where he could, you know, reach me if I did very bad laps. I mean, I'm not gonna do, like, I will have to do every lap remaining, which are essentially 3 laps remaining. Like, I will have to make them 5 seconds slower for him to reach me. It could be the case, but yeah, no, that's obviously not gonna be the case. But yeah, it's interesting that at least the CPU here, even though it's still absolutely free to win, that they are not, or at least that specific one is not a complete pushover. Because everyone else, I lap it at least once. So by lapping everyone once, it clearly tells you that the only one that is even close at the level of my car is the one in second place. That I don't think it's gonna be hard to guess that it's another Porsche Spider, but I will have to check once the race is over. There is a, well, I was expecting that there was gonna be a Northlife endurance. I guess it makes sense. But yeah, I guess that they are probably, like, the ones from the next group of events are all gonna be mostly like 40 minutes, right? Like, we are not gonna get like a 20-minute race or something like that. It seems like they will all be around there. Oh well. Yeah, that's something that will not happen this stream, because this stream I can only do this once. Like, this once already will take me more than 3 hours to finish, so all of them, not individually, of course. So that's already enough time to spend. There are also some other events outside of the endurances that I have yet to do. Some of them are also pretty long. I mean, not as long as these endurances, of course, but also I was completely wrong. It's gonna be 39 minutes. Like, at the beginning I calculated 40 minutes, but later on I thought it was gonna be closer to 37 or 36, but no. It will be 39 after all. But it's fine. Yeah, I mean, by the way, this is the final lap. He didn't clarify. It's about to be over, just like that. Well, just like that, yeah, it only took almost 40 minutes. So just like that, it's over. Damn it, well, not gonna be over if you do this sort of shit, you know? Alright, come on. You need to go through the gray, not through the green. The green is there for scenery. not to step on it. So final corner. Into the finish line. And there you go.
Absolutely epic drive, man. That's how you get the job done.
Well, I don't think it was an epic driving, it was mostly that this guy sucked. And yeah, as expected, the second place was a Porsche Spider, though so was the third, and I didn't see him anywhere near. Messed up that they only give you 22k as a reward, I feel like that's a little bit offensive. But yeah, it's fine. Also, I'm gonna try making my camera appear again. It's still, that's the image that I had before the stream, and it's still frozen with that image. That's pretty funny. In case there needed to be any, though I could leave it there. I feel like it's comical. Not to mention that if it decides to work all of a sudden, that will be great too. But yeah, just leave it there. For good luck, you know? Just so you don't forget how I look like. Yeah, unfortunately, that's just how my camera is right now. Broken, dead. It might move at any time, like that's the funny thing, and I feel like that's gonna be more interesting than the race itself. You never know when it's gonna move, and you never know what sort of tricks it's gonna do either. Because yesterday, sometimes it was working, well, relatively working, but essentially it was showing like, you know, pink and blue colors. Like basically it was essentially asking for help, asking to get put out of its misery. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately it will have to hold for a couple more days, but it's fine. As I say, as long as it happens while I'm playing this game, it's no big deal. Oh, this guy is using a Speed Hunter car. One of the DLC cars. Don't worry, my Porsche Spider is better. So, how long is this track? Yeah, it's most likely gonna be 2 minutes, or around 2 minutes. They essentially pick the track specifically so they take you... Okay, that's a problem. That actually is an issue, cutting the track. No, that's something that I didn't take into account, but yes, theoretically, by cutting the track, you... like, that's the way you could lose the race. So that's pretty funny. Like, if you cut the track 3 times, in Road America there wasn't like that big of a risk because it's a track with no chicanes. This track though, and that chicane could be a problem. Hey, that's a funny thing. How you can just lose by getting disqualified. Hey, don't worry, I'm not gonna get disqualified, okay? I am fine. I mean, if I was really scared of getting disqualified, I would have restarted the race right there, but there is absolutely no way I get disqualified. Like, I'm not gonna cut the track 2 more times, you know? But yeah, don't worry about it, we're fine. So I think here, mostly the reason why I cut the track there is because I'm very unfamiliar with this track. According to the game, I already did it before. It's the track from Czech Republic, and I do remember that. But it's a track that is barely on my radar. Also, yeah, this is gonna go for, well, probably 38 minutes, because the laps are slightly slower than Road America. Slightly. Wait, did I say slower? I meant to say faster. Or maybe I say shorter. I don't know, sometimes I don't hear what I say. Sometimes it's like I talk in autopilot and I don't really hear my own words. That was one of those times. It's fine. I mean, in endurances, that's usually what happens. Just go autopilot for the entirety of them. I mean, how cool, you know? At some point you basically just drive using your muscle memory. Though here, since this is a track that, unlike Road America, I did not dominate, I am trying to get the best line bonus, as well as the corners that I haven't dominated. Because at least that's an interesting thing to do, you know? Like, since you're not gonna be competing against anyone, might as well try to distract yourself with something more interesting. Oh, that's a bug. There are some sparks randomly being lit there. That's something that happens often in this game. Just the way it is. That corner seems like it's gonna be close to impossible to dominate. And this one as well. Yeah, and unfortunately the best line bonus seems like it might not happen either, because I think I'm having the same percentage here as I was having in the previous races, so just think that there's not much you can do. So I think in general the best line is just very badly drawn here, because a lot of these places that I'm going should be the optimal ones, but the game doesn't consider them the optimal ones. It's just awkward. One of those tracks that even after these 20 laps, by the end of it, is most likely not gonna be mastered. And those sparks really distract me. I mean, it really makes you think that there's someone parked there, but no, there's no one there. It's the ghost of the best racing line that keeps escaping me. You know, I cannot dominate that corner. That corner was made to not be dominated, I guess. And here it really feels like I'm going through the... Because, you know, usually, since I obviously don't have the optimal racing lane enabled, what I usually look at is where the track is the most worn out. And even with that, it's not enough sometimes. And I mean, some other times I try to be more logical on which places will be the fastest ones. Yeah, and even that sometimes just refuses to work. It's just one of those things that kinda sucks. Also, that was my first clean lap. So, to be fair, in Road America, I think that the 5th or 6th place was also my cleanest lap, so not something new really. Man, I'm really curious to see what my camera is doing, or if the image is still frozen there. The silly thing about, you know, the camera not being able to properly record is that a lot of times the image gets stuck in like a very dumb face or expression. Yeah, that makes it funny. That makes it pretty funny. I think that here is mostly the expectation of the camera malfunctioning in a way that looks cool, like getting the wrong colors or blinking or showing artifacts. I think that is the coolest way for the camera to malfunction. But unfortunately, I cannot decide in which way I want the camera to do that. It's just not possible. Alright, so for the corners that I couldn't dominate, I'm gonna basically try to do my own racing line, like whatever I think that it's the most optimal way to get them, because following the marks on the floor is not working. Right here, just do your thing. I kinda know that that's gonna be better. Indeed, it was not. Yeah, no, I am unable to. I don't know if it's basically a matter of the fact that I'm not doing it fast enough, or that I'm simply not going through the intended racing line, but I don't know what the game wants me to. Though pretty well that the racing line is activated in everything except the very final and hardest setup for, you know, for for driving, right? Which is elite. That's the only one that is an exception. Everything else uses a racing line, but I guess in racing games that kinda became a standard, you know? That you use that thing in order so if you're a more casual player you can you don't need to know the track beforehand, you can just look at that optimal racing line and that's it. Yeah, at the same time, I think that eventually when you play enough, like you instinctively brake on a specific place and it just works, you know? I guess everyone is different in that regard. Some people are better equipped than others. But more importantly, it's for people that I guess don't usually play racing games and just get into the genre. Because I mean, any racing game that is not a simulator, and this game is certainly not a simulator, basically kinda needs to have something to appeal to like an ultra casual guy, because chances are that the people that tend to be ultra hardcore at racing are simply playing simulators with actual racing setups. So if you want to appeal to a more casual audience, you kinda need those mechanics. And well, this game has a lot of mechanics like that. Like assisted braking, you know, I think assisted steering as well. Like basically comes a point where it's like the game plays itself. So yeah, you have a lot of configurations that allow the most casual player to be able to play. And yeah, that also is the explanation for the optimal racing line being enabled by default. Yes, it will be enabled by default. There is no doubt about it. Right, so judging at the current time, this is probably gonna be a 38-minute race, so I guess 1 minute less than the previous one. Hallelujah. We saved 1 minute. Can you believe that? 1 minute just like that. No, you know, it's very possible that these endurances will be used now, but I don't think it's an optimal way to get experience, is it? I mean, you do get a lot of experience simply because you're driving, and all that driving adds to the experience bar, but yeah, I don't know. I kinda have my doubts. I seen people that, well, I didn't see them speedrunning it, but I know for a fact that some people do speedrun this game. I think that the world record is like almost 3 hours, Because what they do, I'm assuming, is simply have as an objective beating the GT1 series, which is what the game itself tells you it's the objective, so that makes sense. Here I'm doing the opposite of a speed run. It's a completionist run. And I'm about to lap the other guys, though in this race, differently than the previous one, there is no second place that is actually close to me. So it's pretty possible that none of my opponents are a Porsche Carrera. Porsche Spider. So that's interesting, considering that in that one Legends competition, the one car that is clearly superior to every other one is also a Porsche. That's actually, I actually checked, and it's pretty interesting. You know that all this time, when I enter the car lot to purchase a car to participate in an event, I didn't realize that you know, the way you select the cars is separated by brands. But the thing is that once you're in a brand, if you press right or left, you can select another car of that brand. And that might sound obvious or logical or whatever, but I legitimately thought every time that every line, which basically is every brand, basically was a single car. So because of that, I probably miss a lot of opportunities of getting cars that are actually good because of that, you know? Especially in the muscle car category. Because in the muscle car category, I could have gotten a way better car than that Ford Mustang, and I didn't, simply because I didn't know that I could just pick others that are better. And yeah, in this other case, it's in Legends. I saw one of the Porsche, but that wasn't the Porsche that the CPU used to dominate. At least in every other category that I simply purchase a car, it has been a good decision. And the best example is this one. This Porsche Spider is clearly the best one. There is no doubt about it. The same way it went well, it could have gone badly by me picking like a very bad car or something. Yeah, this car seems to be pretty clearly the best. And also pretty crazy how it mugs a lot of other cars that were considered to be like top of the line, right? I guess the thing that I wonder, because in none of this I'm seeing the Gunpert Apollo. The Gunpert Apollo, I think it's supposed to be like one of the fastest cars in the game, and in these competitions I'm not seeing them. Like I'm seeing here, for example, the McLaren, I'm seeing the Pagani Sonda, but not a single one of those Gunpert Apollo. Like, well, here there is the Pagani Huayra. Pretty sure sometimes you can even spot some Lamborghinis and stuff. Well, here you have two Sonda. Like, in fact, there are quite a lot of Pagani Sonda in this game, but compared to the previous Need for Speed Shift, the Sonda here really don't have that much power. Yeah, that's what you get for trying to take me out. And the gentleman above this Honda, what is it, another Huayra? Oh, my bad. Yeah, it's another Huayra. So there is a lot of Huayra representation here. A lot of Huayra, a lot of Pagani representation. Okay. So that actually makes me wonder how the Gampert Apollo will perform here. Like, will it be better than the Porsche Spider? I don't know, but so far it seems that the Porsche Spider has proven to be the best. But yeah, the fact that the Gamper hasn't appeared also makes me suspicious. Like, maybe it's so good that it's on a category of its own, and that's the reason why it never appeared. Because if it appeared, it will defeat you so effortlessly that it won't appear. I don't know, it could be the case. It could very well be the case. I mean, if that is the case, then I probably should use it, because that means that these races will be over a lot faster. Well, I don't know if a lot, that's the thing, like how much faster could it possibly be? Because you already seen that this Porsche, in terms of how it accelerates, it seems to be completely unmatched. And it's possible that the Gampert Apollo has a higher top speed, but outside of very specific straights, that's not gonna help you. In fact, you know, the interesting thing about this Porsche Spider is that aside from the handling, this is pretty much a Formula 1 car. Like, these sort of gears, like it's just casually reaching 200 kilometers per hour like that. Like, that's what a Formula 1 car does. Not to mention the way to exit the corners with so much speed. Like, oh, if it had like the ridiculous downforce that Formula 1 cars have, this will essentially be a Formula 1 car. I don't know how this car is in real life. Maybe as I was saying before, Porsche gave Electronic Arts a lot of money, and with that money they were like, you know, I want you to make our cars like the best. And they probably did. I'm not sure why there is such a big difference here between this Pagani Sonda that is here and the Sondas that were like behind me. Why is the difference so big? It's the same car. Then the one in second place, I think, is one of the Speed Hunter cars. Is it another Porsche? I can't really tell right here. No, I don't think it is. Maybe a Mitsubishi. Kinda looks like a Mitsubishi. Yeah, it is a Mitsubishi. I think it's the classical Lancer Evo, right? Probably. A very heavily modified Lancer Evo, of course. So which one is in second place then? Which one is faster than everyone else? Though I don't even know, is that the second place or is that the third place? Because I see in the minimap that there is another dot that is a little bit further, but I wouldn't know if that's supposed to be a lap car or if it's the actual second place. Yeah, see that? I feel like it's probably a lap car, but I don't know. They are pretty in solitary, so it's also possible that all those cars are actually the ones that I'm supposed to overtake, and they are not simply lapped twice, which means that the second place is still pretty far from here. I mean, it's wild for me to think that for this game the Pagani Sonda is a filter car, essentially. Because it's a car that you see like 5 times and they are all in the lower position, so it is essentially a filter car. Pretty wild. Yeah, it's fine. So be it. Guess I'm about to meet whoever is in here. Well, I say that I'm about to meet him, but he has basically maintained that distance for quite a lot of laps. I wonder if by following what racing line he does, I will finally be able to dominate the remaining corners and also get the best line bonus. Doesn't seem to be happening right now though. It's actually crazy how he's so close and yet so far, you know? He's there, but not quite. Who is the mysterious figure here? I mean, chances are that it's most likely another Porsche Spider. Though in the previous race I wasn't even close to overtaking, or well, lapping the Porsche Spider in second place, so will it be any different here? Well, the fact that I'm not even close, no, I am close, but yeah, I'm not close enough to even copy his racing line. He's still too far. And the race is out to be over. Well, not quite. I think it's still gonna be around 38 minutes like I thought at the beginning. Oh, yeah, it is a Porsche Spider, indeed. They really made this the most broken car in the game, huh? Unfortunately, I don't think I can follow behind him like I wanted to copy his racing line, guys. In this game, unless a car is actually faster than you, chances are that unless you heavily slow down, you're not gonna remain behind someone for too long. Like, they will have to use a faster car no matter what. Like, without them using a faster car, there's just no way. Well, yeah, this will be essentially 38 minutes. So one less minute that Road America, still pretty annoying, I guess. No, don't. It's fine. Well, at least here, differently from Road America, I didn't lose any of my of my parts. Like, my rear wing is still there, and the rest of the car just looks pretty fine, you know. Looks in excellent condition. Though still wild that after all these laps I could not master any of those 3 remaining corners, and I couldn't also get the best line bonus. Like, I feel like at that point, like, sure, I guess I'm not good enough for that, but at that point it feels like it probably should have been tested a little bit more, because I feel like it's ridiculous. It certainly feels like it. Well, final lap, by the way. And yeah, something tells me that the guy that is right in front of, well, not right in front of me, but the one that is there in the minimap, that is most likely another Porsche Spider. And it most likely is not even the guy in second place. I think it's the guy in third place, and the guy in second place is the one that is further ahead. So that's just how broken the Porsche Spider is, I guess. Though I still feel that it's pretty weird that it's supposed to be like a super high performance car, and yet it's completely roofless. Like, there is no roof. Like, it feels like one of those fancy cars that people just drive because they wanna be fancy, but no, this thing, it's supposed to be a high performance car. But I don't know how much of that is simply advertisement of Porsche from the game. Porsche is the best, win-win. If you want a car, you probably want a Porsche. Unless you are poor, of course. If you're poor, I guess, yeah, you don't want a Porsche. You don't deserve one. You gotta aim a little bit lower. Well, more like a lot lower. So this one was, yeah,
Absolutely epic drive, man.
38 minutes.
That's how you get the job
A
done.
little bit less than 38 minutes, like 2 seconds less. Alright, so before I go into the next race, how is my camera doing? Oh, my camera hasn't moved an inch. Let me see if I try to reload it, if it does something. I think it's permadead. Well, at that point, it's like I just put a photo of me on the top left. Pretty funny. So Mount Panorama is the next one. Well, Mount Panorama is one of the tracks that gets used in real life for endurance, but I'm pretty sure so does Road America, and the other one is also most likely the case. But yeah, you know what I investigated about Road America today? This track is in, well, I said it in one of the previous streams that it's in the city of Bathurst. But the interesting thing is that Bathurst is not meant to be like a super highly technological city at all. It's like a very remote city in the middle of Australia. And when I say the middle, I mean a little bit, well, not the exact middle of the continent, but like right there in, like, not in the coast, because you know that most Australian cities are in the coast, as you would expect. The middle of Australia tends to be completely non-populated. But yeah, Bathurst is one city that is more to the middle and not really in a coast. And according to Wikipedia, it has less than 40,000 people living there. So for being such a small and almost rural city, it's pretty wild that like you have one of the most worldwide recognized tracks in the world. Mount Panorama is a very popular track. Without a doubt, it's certainly up there. And it's pretty wild that it comes from such a small city. I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's pretty cool that such a small city is the home of such a gigantic track, right? But yeah, and for what I understand, well, what it also is said by Wikipedia, that normally this is part of the normal road, but yeah, when the racing event happens, it turns into a racing track. That tends to be the case in a lot of places. It's just that you wouldn't look at this track and think to yourself, oh, this is an urban track. I mean, I guess theoretically yes, but no. I mean, it's not. Well, actually, that's something that I will have to investigate. Will this be enough for this to be considered an urban track? Or will that be an exaggeration to call this an urban track? Or maybe it's more like a hybrid, because it's pretty clear that there are places here that cannot be part of an actual road. Like, I'm pretty sure that the corners that come here, including the chicane, are pretty much exclusively used for the track. Like, I cannot imagine this being a public road. But maybe it is, I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of public roads out there that are very bizarre. Maybe that's one of them. Yeah, I don't know. So this one will most likely be like the closest one to 40 minutes. And like basically the longest one so far, but not really by a lot. I'm surprised by how close in length all these races are, despite how extremely different these tracks are. Because I mean, you compare Road America with this track and they have nothing to do with each other. They are two completely different type of tracks. I guess the only thing that they have in common is that they are both from a country that natively speaks English. Well, natively. I mean, it's the primary language of the country. Natively, I guess it depends on your definition of natively, because both in the USA and in Australia, the English speakers certainly were not the natives. Now they are, but not originally. But you can say that about most of the world, really. I don't think that there are many places in the world where the population from thousands of years ago is still the same one. I mean, I read about that like not that long ago, but apparently Finland is one of those countries that it's like obviously a modern country, but that the people that live there have, like the families that live there have been there for, since the Stone Age. Like apparently Finland is that old in terms of population. I think in terms of country they aren't, like Finland as a country, I don't think it's old. I might be wrong. But yeah, the people that live there seem to be... Well, I guess it depends on the place. I mean, you could argue the same about the UK or, or France. That some of the people that live there are like from families that were there since the Stone Age. I mean, that's the reason why we use the definition of old world and new world. The old world, which is basically, well, mostly Europe, Asia and Africa. It's, there are civilizations that have been there for a long time, while the New World, which is essentially the Americas and Oceania, I'm pretty sure Oceania is also considered New World. I might be wrong on that, but the point is that those populations tend to mostly be descendants of colonizers rather than actual natives. They are still natives, but they are a very, very small minority. And yeah, the New World is basically majority colonizers. Some countries are an exception, like for example, for what I studied in high school, I think Bolivia and Peru are two countries that have a very big percentage of native population that's been there for thousands of years. So even though colonizers are still technically a majority, not as much as in other countries. But yeah, for the most part, the New World is full of the colonizer spring. I mean, well, yeah, offspring. That's the word. Offspring will be the correct word. So interestingly enough here, well, now I'm gonna be talking about the race that I've been ignoring all this time. The second place doesn't seem to be that far behind, though it is true that it's only the 5th lap, so there is still a lot more time to gain distance, but they seem to be taking their sweet time there. So I managed to get the best line bonus. Will I be able to get the remaining two corners. One of them is the final chicane, and the other one I think it's like a very random corner inside the roller coaster area. I mean, that's pretty much... Oh, it's that one. It's the third corner in the roller coaster area. That is such a subtle corner that I think you can barely tell apart from the previous corner. Like, it's supposed to be after this slow-ass corner. Like, it comes here. But yeah, that's not enough to dominate it. Like, I'm not sure there what will be considered the optimal racing line at all. Very hard to tell. No, that's... okay. That's a chicane that is super easy to skip. So, differently from the previous track where it was mostly fine, that is a chicane that I have to be extremely careful with, because yes, the way it's structured, like, your immediate reaction to that is to skip it. Like, it's just a chicane that is pretty much a trap. Well, I don't think it's an exaggeration to call it a death trap. You know? It's a very dangerous chicane, but on top of that also extremely easy to skip. So yeah, don't do that again, please. That will be a problem. Also, you know, I just found something pretty funny here. I'm not the one with the fastest lap. That's a bad signal, because it means that they are getting closer to me. Right? Well, technically the lap that I did, like the previous lap, was the fastest one, but since I skipped the chicane, it didn't count. But that's a little bit scary that these guys are theoretically going faster than I am. Pretty wild. I guess this one can be a very hard track if I'm not careful. Don't skip this chicane again, please. And if you do it again, let it be the last time you do it. Because if you do it a third time, you throw this whole race to the trash, and that will be bad. In fact, that's something that I wonder. Will I lose any of these endurances to, like, disqualification? I could. It's very possible that that happens, but will it happen? I really hope it doesn't. Anything is possible here. By the way, I think the next two endurances are Suzuka Circuit and Spa-Francorchamps, which are also around 2 minutes per lap, at least with a car like this. Well, Spa-Francorchamps, I'm not sure if I can do it in 2 minutes. Probably. Like, Suzuka, I should be able to pull it off. But Spa, I don't know. Will be. Also, well, I got the top lap there, so that's nice. Will I actually get these corners though? Oh, I got that one. See? Like, the game wants me to essentially sacrifice my car to master a corner in its size. So the other one is the final chicane. The issue with the final chicane is that I'm not sure if it wants me to do it in the inner side of of like the out, well, there's the second corner, right? Or if it wants me to do like a zigzag motion. Not sure what it considers to be more optimal. Hard to tell. Though I think my issue is that I'm mostly drifting in every attempt that I have to this corner. And the game doesn't like drifting when it, well, but it's really hard not to drift. Like, there are very small bumps in the middle of that chicane that essentially make you drift. Whether you like the idea or not, you just drift. Well, you probably wouldn't drift if you go slower. But yeah, I don't know. So the sun being there at the beginning of this whole uphill is such a fucked up thing to very fucked up. Because you cannot really see. It's essentially a it's like the solar flare from Dragon Ball Z. Fuck, okay. Technically from the original Dragon Ball, but yeah, you get the point. But I think, actually, when was the first time that it was used? No, yeah, it was in the original Dragon Ball. It was Ten Shin Han, the one that used it, right? Like in the martial arts tournament. But technically a Dragon Ball technique. The solar flare. I think in Japanese they call it Taiyuken or some shit like that. Probably. Okay. That's what the sun right there is. It's functionally a solar flare. Well, actually, functionally and literally, that flare it's a sun flare. Yeah. Well, the effect they call it lens flare. Like that effect that it has on the camera, like those little circles that you see spreading, like that is called lens flare. It's a cool effect, honestly. A lot of games have that. I think that games have been having that effect since, you know, since the early 3D days. Just that obviously with a lot less definition, but it was still there. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there were, no, I mean there were most likely 2D games that also tried to replicate it back then. Well, in fact, well, 2D I don't know, but early 3D games that have lens flare, I can easily remember Ace Combat on PS1. In fact, didn't Gran Turismo also have lens flare? I think it did. Like, it's one of those effects that it's very common. Like, was common and is still common. Like, if there is a sun, it most likely will have something similar to lens flare. At least in games where the graphical fidelity is a priority, of course. Or games that want to have a more realistic approach to graphics, right? And it doesn't seem to be a very expensive effect to do at all, because I mean, I don't know anything about graphics like that. Like I never develop a 3D game, and I don't really have plans to either. But I think that most of the times the lens flare is like a 2D image, right? Or rather a collection of 2D images that essentially move depending on the relation of the camera to the light source, which in this case is obviously the sun. I wonder how it is. There really isn't. Ah, fuck. There goes my rear wing. Well, so far 2 races where I lose my rear wing. Don't worry, it's for better aerodynamics, you know. It's so I have less weight on the car. And ironically, that's the whole point of the rear wing. It's for better aerodynamics, like having it, not having it, obviously. That's what you use it for. For what I understand, the purpose of a rear wing / spoiler is reducing the drag caused by the wind. Not sure how. Honestly, like, car engineering, which is, well, essentially mechanical engineering, it's so complex, dude, that I don't skip the chicane. Nice. It's so complex that I really cannot wrap my head around how this shit even gets discovered. I mean, with a lot of trial and error, obviously, but it's so crazy. Because things that you might initially think that they are just there to look cool, no, they have a reason to exist outside of looking cool, of course, which is, at the end of the day, making the car faster. Damn, I finally dominated that corner, nice. It was basically the same racing line I was doing since the beginning of the race. It's just that you need to do that without drifting. Whenever the game detects that you drifted in a corner, it basically is like, no, you did not master that corner. Try again. Drifting means not mastering a corner. I think Takumi will want to have a war with them. But yeah, you have to do the corner in a very clean way to have the game consider that you master it. Well, at least the good thing is that means that we master Mount Panorama at dusk. So that's cool. I mean, this is one of my favorite tracks. So. Also, you know what? Earlier in the playthrough I say that this game has like pretty much like the most popular tracks in the world, and it's only lacking a couple of them. But did I mention Le Mans? I feel like I didn't mention Le Mans. Yeah, that one is definitely lacking. It's one of the most popular tracks. Maybe I did mention it. In case I didn't mention it, let me add it to the list. Yeah, like the Circuit de las Arts, or whatever you pronounce that in French. Yeah, that is one of like the most popular tracks that is not in the game. I will say that the game has an extremely good collection of tracks. It's just that some of them are so underused, it's actually painful, and this one is one of them. Like, Mount Panorama so far was used for like 2 races, well, 3 if you count this one, and never again. And now I kinda more or less have played the big majority of the game, so I know for a fact that it does not really appear outside of it. Like, outside of those 2 occurrences. There could be another one on the events that I haven't done yet, but it's an extremely underused track, and it's not the only one. You also have Monza. Monza is extremely underused for whatever reason. In fact, so far I think it was only used once in its full version and twice in its classic version. And well, it also got used once in its short version, but yeah, like compared to some other tracks like the Miami urban circuit, or I don't know, well, Suzuka circuit is also used quite a lot, though that one at least makes sense. In fact, actually, now that I think about it, I think most of the tracks that get repeated a lot are urban circuits. Well, Suzuka is not one of them, but I mean that the other ones that came to my mind are all urban circuits. So they seem to be the ones that the game spams the most. Well, like that London place, that London urban circuit is also used quite a lot, you know? You have lots and lots of examples of those being used, but the moment you get into the real circuits, you don't really have the same proportion of usage, which is a little bit disappointing. But oh well. The game doesn't wanna use it, then the game doesn't wanna use it, you know? What can you do? Well, at least one track that I'm glad that the game is not spamming is Nürburgring Nordschleife. Though ironically, Nürburgring has, like, well, the Nordschleife version has been used more than Monza, which I find to be very offensive, but yeah. The one that has been used quite a bit was a Nürburgring Grand Prix. And that one makes sense, I mean, it's supposed to be a short track. Another track that has been, I think, very underused was Donington. Well, Donington and Brands Hatch. I think that Donington and Brands Hatch were pretty underused, maybe because they were 2 tracks that were used a lot in the previous game. Could be. Like, those 2 tracks, well, in fact, a lot of British tracks were used a lot in Need for Speed Shift, which is what makes me think that the company that made the game is British, but I'm pretty sure that these guys are American, like Ian Bell and company. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, I'm pretty sure they are American. It seems that they have a... Well, there is also a lot of American tracks in the game, but at least the previous game had a very specific obsession with London, well, London, I mean the UK content. Not sure where Donington is. Well, maybe there is a place in England called Donington where the track is. But I don't know if any of those tracks are part of another country in the UK, you know, because it could be Ireland or whatever, like, or Scotland. I know very little of the UK when I think about it. Just know that they are a group of nations, I think, and each nation, you know, is usually separated by water, usually, but when I think of the UK, it's like I instinctively think of England. And yeah, I guess that's very offensive for the other members of the UK. But to me, in my mind, at least in a very quick way, UK equals England. But yeah, that's not true, obviously. Just that it's the immediate thought I have. Oh, damn, that's the first death. Actually, it's interesting. So far, in these 3 endurances, no one has died. Well, that's the first time we see someone die. Was one of the Pagani. Yeah, well, Mount Panorama is certainly a track where dying is something that makes a lot of sense. It's a very hard track, and especially these guys that are going all together. Ah, fuck you, dude. Those guys are prone to die too, right? Oh, the rear of my car is actually about to come off, right? I wonder if the sheer speed is gonna send it flying or not. It seems to be doing well, I guess. But I'm assuming that another collision will be enough to fully get rid of it. Alright, so right now it's looking like the total time of this race is gonna be closer to 39 seconds. I wish. 39 minutes. It's gonna be closer to 39 than to 40. So that's good, but it ultimately doesn't make much of a difference, because essentially it's still kinda 40 minutes if you count the loading screens and all that shit, you know? So, can you actually allow me to overtake Mr. Sonda? Or are you gonna keep gatekeeping the lapping of these cars? Well, you won't. Maybe one of your peers will do it, but not you. Yeah, and overtaking on this chicane is impossible. Ouch. That hurts. Yeah, and the Sonda still is ahead. I'm surprised that on the first lap, where I essentially went to overtake all of them, I didn't have any problems. Like, it was super clean, but right now it's not really being clean. So unfortunately I'm noticing the first damage of these endurances on my car. The direction is slightly tending to go to the right. Well, and my left rear light is off. It's completely dead. so that sucks, but yeah, it's the way it works. But there are 2 more laps remaining. But ironically, with these 2 last laps that I did so slowly, it's probably gonna be closer to 40 than to 39. Was going great before that, but yeah, this group of lap bitches is not letting me do shit. If this was real life, by the way, these guys will get a blue flag and they will have the obligation to let me pass. Like, lap cars in real life are, well, at least for regular races, are not something that should be a problem to anyone, because they are supposed to let you pass. But yeah, I guess here such a thing doesn't exist. Now, if you assholes actually cost me the race, I will be very pissed off. I don't think the second place is anywhere near, but at this point it's hard to tell, you know? Like, which... Bro, I cannot get past these pieces of shit. Okay, at least none of the guys behind me is the second place. The second place though is most likely the one that I'm seeing at a distance. Like, it is there, but yeah, that one cannot be the second place. It's the Pagani Huayra. Like, that guy is... If we follow the logic of the previous races, well, actually you can tell very easily that the second place is 18 seconds behind, so yeah, it cannot be that one. Well, one more lap. Hopefully I managed to survive, because these final laps have been terrible thanks to this group of lap guys just doing what they want. But as I say, this is more of a... it adds more to the surprise of being able to overtake everyone in the first lap without any issues. I guess I didn't realize how extremely lucky I got. Unless I overtook everyone before the roller coaster starts. It's possible. I'm not sure about that. I feel like I did overtake a couple of guys here. Well, I don't think I need to overtake this McLaren though, since the race is gonna be over before that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the top speed, I think, never got compromised despite the fact that I hit multiple things a lot of times. Ah, fuck. Sorry. I guess at the end of the day I ended up overtaking that guy. So yeah, because of those terrible final laps, this ended up being like 13 minutes and a half instead of 39.
Great job, my man.
My bad.
Great job.
39 minutes instead of 39 and a half instead of 39. But yeah, it doesn't make a difference. But we got the... Yeah, that wasn't night, dude. Well, it calls it night when it's night or dusk, but it's so stupid. Also, it's my camera. So my camera managed to move. That's nice. It actually has a different image than at the beginning. Very surprising. Yeah. So...
Get ready for the green. Keep focused and fight hard.
Suzuka Circuit on daytime, apparently it's the first time I do it.
Green, good luck.
Okay. Like the full version of Suzuka Circuit on daytime. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, well, it would be better if I didn't do that. Suzuka Circuit at the beginning is also very hard to overtake anyone. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not first at the end of the first lap. Because these guys are very tough to just overtake here. So it's probably gonna take me a couple of laps to get in first place. Or maybe not, maybe I'm exaggerating. It's very possible. Alright, well, that's what you get for being so slow, stupid ass Honda. Yeah, man, there are so many Sonda. It really feels like it's a Sonda parade in here. And yet, they are apparently the slowest cars in the grid. Pretty wild how the power creep happened just like that. Quite a lot of power creep. Well, I might be able to actually get the first place before the end of the first lap. But I think that's mostly because of this Sonda. If instead of Sonda this were like the Porsche Spider, most likely not. Most likely wouldn't have happened. So yeah, as expected, this track is also basically gonna be 2 minutes per lap. So yeah, I guess Spa is the real question if I can do it in 2 minutes per lap. Because I think that of these tracks that we played today, I think Spa is the longest one. I mean, I would have sworn Road America was gonna be longer, or no? I think that Spa is most likely longer. But yeah, we cannot be sure until it's there. So yeah, we will see. At least the good thing is that I most likely should be able to complete all of the endurances today. That's always sweet. Will I or will I not? I mean, the only thing that could prevent me from completing all the endurances is a technical issue, which in this case doesn't include the camera here. That is already a technical issue, you know. That one doesn't affect the game. But no, something like, as I said before, the lights going out. That will suck. But it's either that or me getting disqualified for cutting the track 3 times. There cannot be anything else that will prevent me from winning all the endurance. Then, really, someone died in the middle of the track? How did you even manage that? Not to mention being upside down. That's wild. That's very unlucky. Well, for everyone else, it's very unlucky. Yeah, pretty wild because it's like to be upside down in the middle of the track. What did you even do? Like, I'm a little bit dumbfounded right now how you managed to do that. Like, what did you even crash against? I mean, yeah, the wall, clearly, but how did you end like that? You would think that if you crash the wall, you will end right next to the wall. Apparently, you have a different opinion. And yes, the AI does not have the power to respawn, which means that that car will remain there for the rest of the race, which is, well, The problem is that it's in the very middle, so unless someone else crashed it and it made it move, being in the middle like that is so messed up. Well, needless to say, if this was a real life race, they would have already used the yellow flag and would have removed the car. But that's not how it works here. It seems that he's in the exact same way, so I need to dodge him the best I can. I mean, technically, it's not really in the middle of the racing line you will use, but still pretty annoying. So the remaining corners to dominate are, well, essentially 3 of the first ones, the final chicane, and one of the fast corners in the middle. I don't know, like, those are hard to dominate, but hey, I'll try. It would be nice to have the badge for dominating Suzuka circuit. Obviously, they won't be dominated like that, that's for sure. Clearly will not happen. Something tells me that they won't happen. At least I got the bonus for best line. So if I want to worry about dominating, I can simply focus on those corners, I guess. Man, seeing that car upside down every time is... I mean, it's funny more than anything. I don't think it's that dangerous, but it's just funny. And it will remain that, because that was also a very early accident. Like in Mount Panorama, the accident that happened like with 5 laps left for the end or something like that. Here it happened like right on the first lap. Eventually, the remnant of the race, which is not little, it's quite an amount of laps. Like that thing will be there, whether you like it or not. Oh, I managed to master the 2 corners of the zigzag area. That's pretty nice. So then you have this corner. Nice, we got that one too. So there is the final chicane and the first corner of the track. I remember that the first corner of the track, in a shorter variant, I was not able to dominate it a single time. So that's the one that probably won't happen. The final chicane, I think I should be able to dominate it though. It will be hard, I guess. Because here, what even is the racing line that you take? You will think that it's simply going ultra close to the pianos, but I've been doing that so far and it hasn't worked. Maybe I'm going way too close to the pianos. Maybe it wants me to keep some distance, perhaps. It's possible. That's not where you go. Also, I mentioned it in another stream, but tomorrow and the day afterwards are holidays here, which is the reason why the camera is not gonna show up until at least Saturday, and that is if it shows up on Saturday. Worst case scenario, it shows up on Monday. And the problem there is that, yeah, it's a holiday, and I think that because of that, there are tourists that came to the floor above mine, because I'm hearing unusual sounds, and that sucks so much because tourists are trash. Tourists are really the worst of the worst. They don't give a fuck if they are noisy or not, since, you know, they don't live here. That's gonna be, well, it's fine. I usually always go to sleep late anytime there is a holiday anyways. It's probably gonna be fine. I guess the issue is when I wake up, they are probably gonna wake me up sooner than I would want to. I dominated the first corner, so only the final chicane remains, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I'll worry about that. I guess for the rest of the race until I eventually get it. It's not like there's anything else to worry about here. Well, the second place is already 20 seconds behind me, and it's still the Sonda, so if the Sonda is able to maintain the second place like that, then it's pretty possible that the Porsche Spider is not in this race. Well, aside from me, obviously. There is no other Porsche Spider, I'm the only one. In which case, well, that's something. Because it might be possible to lap everyone. I don't know. There is still some distance between them, despite allegedly not being... Oh, someone hit that guy, nice. So it's pretty possible that we might see another death pretty quickly. Though right now, since it's completely out of the way, chances are that they are not gonna crash him again. Like, you will have to go out of your way to crash him. I mean, you could if you want to. I don't know why you will do that, especially being the AI. Probably not. So, looking at the hour here, it's pretty likely that this stream will be, as expected, a 3-hour-and-a-half stream. Could be worse, but at least with that we are done with the first endurances, though I guess that's part of the problem. We are done with the first endurances, not all of them. So, yeah, that kinda sucks, but it's fine. You know, it's the way it is. So I guess I should be planning what I'm gonna do on the next stream, because yeah, I could do the remaining endurances right away on the next stream, but I guess for the sake of variety I could do some of the legend stuff, unfortunately, because I'm not a fan of that. I could do one of the legend ones, the remaining muscle one, and then I could do the endurances, and by doing that, that will mean that there are 2 more legend group of events remaining, and then GT1, and then that's it. And oh, there is also a works event that I haven't done yet. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Will I be able to complete whatever is left in 2 streams? Probably not. Like, originally I thought that was gonna be the case for sure, but these endurances are making me think otherwise. So let's assume that the 3 endurances remaining are all 40 minutes long, right? If that's the case, that will mean like 2 hours of that. And then I will assume that the legend, well, promise that one of the legends events, I think are supposed to be like 4 races multiple times, and they don't have a small amount of laps either. That one by itself will probably take a lot more than an hour. So, like, thinking about it, it's very possible that it might not take 2 more streams, or rather 3 more streams to finish this, which is pretty wild. I mean, I hope it's not the case, but everything seems to be pointing at that. Oh well. Whatever, I guess. It happens. Not to mention that there is also the Dr. Pepper events remaining. I have no clue what they are or how long they are meant to be, but they could be an issue. Yeah, I don't know. Anything is possible. I mean, on the right side, since these are, as I mentioned, holidays, I could keep streaming for a while, you know? I honestly don't really mind doing these endurances because at least you're allowed to pick whatever car you want. My issue is that the Legends events, you have to use pretty shitty cars, on top of the fact that they are very long races, even though, yes, not as long as these endurances, but I still feel like they are extremely long, and that is a problem. Because that ends up, you know, just making it a pain in the ass. Because if you think that doing a very, very long race is painful, try doing a long race with a shitty car. And yeah, that's exactly what the Legends DLC is about. It's one thing that unfortunately goes on for way too long. It is what it is. Also, it's very likely that this race is gonna be exactly as long as Mount Panorama. It's pretty wild that Mount Panorama and Suzuka Circuit seem to be almost the same length. Well, obviously it depends on what car you use, I guess, but with these cars, they are essentially the same length, despite the fact that they are also very, very different tracks. Like, extremely different tracks. Yeah, I'm very, very curious to see how the Spa is gonna be. Like, will it also be 40 minutes? Or will it be more? It certainly won't be less though. There is no way that I could do a lap in Spa in like a minute and a half or something like that. That is not happening. No matter how you look at it, that in no universe is happening. But yeah, in 2 minutes, I think I will have to do the laps very fast to pull 2 minutes off. It seems that I won't be able to master this chicane at all, I guess, because I've been trying and trying, but it seems I'm just simply extremely far from it. Like, it's not happening. Oh, and I also forgot about another events that I haven't done, which are the final time attack events. And those time attack events, the issue that they have is that it's not like they are particularly long, it's that they are actually hard. Probably the hardest events in the game. So yeah, good luck with that, I guess. Like, I got very hard filter by one of them, and even though I can probably eventually beat it, it most likely will take multiple attempts. So I think, like, now that I remember that, it will undoubtedly be like 3 more streams to finish the game. Like, it has to be. That was almost a skip. Well, so far I haven't done any corner cut in this track. Like, obviously the part that is the easiest to cut is the final chicane, but since I've been trying to master it all this time, I haven't really got into a situation where I cut it. I guess it could still happen at any time, you know? I'm also out to lap some cars in here, which is always nice. We did that a little bit too fast. Oh, and I actually hit that guy. Though hit him from the side, so pretty sure that it dealt no damage against me, but you gotta be careful. I mean, as I say before, I'm not afraid of any accident, knowing that any damage that I thought was permanent can be solved by respawning, so no issues. Otherwise, I would have been pretty nervous. Like, especially like, well, in the previous race for sure, especially towards the end. And I think in Road America there was one accident that I had that if it was worse, I would have risked like actually damaging my car. So if I didn't know that, like I will be driving with a lot of panic. And keep in mind that I only learned about the respawn thing yesterday, so I could have easily not know it for today, and yeah, that would have been terrible. This is the first group of lap cars. I'm surprised that a lot of these manage to be so close to each other at all times. Like, I really wonder what's the AI logic, because it's certainly not because of the car. This guy is using a Sonda, so the second place being a Sonda means that it's not a matter of car, it's a matter that some AIs are very clearly made slower than others. The car does seem to be like an important part, since it seems that every time that a Porsche Spider participates, it's always the one that ends up taking the top spots. But in terms of when a car is equal to another, it seems that it's where the AI, the individual AI, starts deciding which one is gonna be ahead and which one isn't. Because here there is a very important difference between that Sonda that I just overtook and the Sonda that is in second place. Unless you tell me that they are Sondas with different upgrades, will be not even sure if that's possible. I mean, the Sonda is supposed to be one of those cars that I'm not sure if you can even change at all. Maybe not. I don't know. That car, I think that for now it really will remain there no matter what, unless I crash against it. I don't think there's any way the AI is gonna crash against it so far. That was a PB, was the fastest lap. And it's pretty possible that it was the fastest lap thanks to the slipstream of the lap cars. Pretty likely. it seems that at this rate I'm gonna be finishing the race without having dominated the final chicane. It seems that I'm simply unable to. And I thought that one was gonna be easier than the first corner, but no. It clearly will be a lot harder than the first corner. Pretty wild. Yeah, like I'm trying my best, even going as slow as possible, and it still doesn't count. Oh, there you go. Hey, basically, nice. That's pretty cool. Basically, it only happened on the one attempt that I did it the slowest possible. I'm pretty sure that's the slowest I did the corner in the whole race. Maybe except a time where I maybe went off track, but then. Well, that's nice. That means that Suzuka circuit at daytime has also been mastered. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's not the road, bro. Don't go there. Yeah, I will appreciate you not going straight to that guy. Also, here if I'm allowed to take this chicane as fast as possible, I think I might be able to get another PB. Not in this lap because of, you know, how I went off track at the beginning, but I might be able to get another PB. I guess at this point, since I already have the whole track dominated, it's the only other objective you can give yourself is you will win no matter what, you know? That part is obvious, so at that point, if you want an additional objective, yeah, it's to keep beating your time. So here is one of the DLC guys. What the car is it? I think it's the Lexus, isn't it? Kinda looks like the Lexus. But will you kindly let me pass? Not having the intent of doing so. I'll overtake no matter what though. Well, didn't want to overtake like that, but honestly, for blocking me so much, you kinda deserve it. Hey, that won't be a PB either, I guess. So we have two more opportunities to establish a better PB. I had to go from the outside there. I didn't want to crash that guy. Oh, and by the way, the second place is about to be 1 minute away from me. And I guess if I didn't make all those mistakes, he would already have been 1 minute away. And that has been the biggest domination so far. Makes sense since it's the only track that didn't have a Porsche Spider, you know? The domination was meant to happen like this. Looking at that delta, this also won't be a PB, so it's all down to the final lap. Though I kinda doubt that it's gonna happen. It's not like I'm really that interested to do a PB either. It's one of those things that it would be nice if it happened, but it's like I'm not gonna try that hard to do it, you know? I also wonder what car is the one that is upside down there. It's very hard to tell because it's in a state that doesn't seem recognizable at all. It's like it's been completely disfigured. So this one will be a 39-minute race, correct? It will be 13.9 minutes, so yeah, essentially faster than Mont Panorama, but yeah, it would have been the same as Mont Panorama if the final laps of that track I didn't do that badly. Well, in fact, here, if I had less luck with the lap cars, it probably would have been the same story. Yeah, this one won't be a PB either. That sequence of corners I did then pretty badly. Oh well, who cares? And to add to the shittiness of the lap, and 3 seconds behind, really. I don't know how I cannot replicate it, but I guess I cannot. Well, that's another endurance done, and almost 39 minutes. Like, no more. 1 second to spare. And yeah, here I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there were no... Though the Pagani Zonda seems to be the fastest one after the... Well, actually, there was a Porsche Spider. It's the one that died. So maybe if he hadn't died, we would have had that guy as a second place. But yeah, the remaining one Spa-Francorchamps. So yeah, as I say before, this is the one that I don't know if I can do 2 minutes per lap. Unfortunately, it's on nighttime. The only good thing is that, like, I know this track very well. So I should be able to do this, but like without, yeah, obviously I will be able to do this, but I mean that I should be able to do it without any major issues. Oh, I also haven't checked my camera, by the way. Well, who cares? We already know that it's barely working. I don't need to check it to know that. Alright. The hardest part will be doing the initial overtakes. But if we manage to get them on the fastest straight, well, the fastest straight, if it's a straight, it's obviously gonna be fast, but yeah, the longest straight, on that one, shouldn't be an issue to overtake. The Spa is, like, since it's a circuit, nighttime actually affects how well you can see, so you can add that to the fact that I most likely won't be able to do 2 minutes per lap, at least not consistently. So will I be able to overtake the Sonda on the straight? So I think that technically the top speed of the Sonda is higher. Ah, fuck me. That counts as a cut. Oh, it doesn't. I guess I lost enough time for it to not count. I have my doubts if it's gonna be 40 minutes. It's most likely gonna be more than 40 minutes for total the race time. Though on the right side at least, I'm first, and also before the first lap. This is gonna be more, so I guess that my suspicions were confirmed that Spa will be the longest endurance and it's not gonna be 40 minutes. Well, how much is gonna be then? Probably 45, something like that. I hope not. Well, 45, no, 45 is fine. Would be a problem if it was 50. So, in order for it to be 50, no, that wouldn't be possible, right? Because it will have to be 2 minutes and a half per lap, right? Or am I a moron? No, I'm right. It will be 2 minutes and a half and it's not gonna be that. So, at most it's gonna be 45 minutes. Yeah, that's fine by me. It's only 5 minutes more, like, whatever, sure, why not? Though, this Sonda is really chasing me very close here. So maybe this is also the first race that I have a real chance of losing it. Though surprising that it's the Sonda here, when you're shown to be such a shover in every other endurance. Or maybe I'm wrong and the Sonda was already overtaken, but I don't think it is. Well, and also here if someone manages to die, that would also be a lot worse, because being nighttime it will be a lot harder to see that. Yeah, for what I'm seeing here, this will most likely be the only endurance that I'm not guaranteed to win, because these guys are following up pretty close. Fuck. Okay, at least that wasn't a skip, but well, that's another thing. In Spa, that infamous chicane Au Rouge, it's very common to skip it, especially if you're going super fast. I also do not expect to master the remaining corners at all. I mean, I can barely see where I'm going, and you already know that the #1 reference that I take to master corners are the markings on the ground. but with nighttime it's very hard where the markings are until you are right there, and by that time it's a little bit too late. I gotta be careful also with some of these off tracks, because the majority of times it doesn't count as a cut. There have been times that I go off track from the outside like that, and when I rejoin the track it's counted as an off track, and it makes sense, because I mean if you gain time it's a cut, even if it doesn't look like you're cutting, it's still a cut. But yeah, it could happen, so I gotta be careful, because there are essentially two places where that's very common. One is this one, and the other one is the previous one. So to add issues here, so the second place is a Sonda, but there is a third place approaching. And that third place, because it is approaching, is most likely not a Sonda but the Porsche Spider. And at that speed, it's very clear that he's gonna reach me if he manages to overtake the Sonda. So I might actually not be able to win this one. Like, not just about not being guaranteed, but if that's legitimately a Porsche Spider, I'm kinda bummed right now. But we will see. The biggest threat to my pace is the fact that it's nighttime and I cannot tell exactly when to brake. Like, it's not easy to tell. Sometimes I brake super early, like I did on that first chicane. Well, I mean, first chicane after our Rouge, I guess. So yeah. The AI certainly does not have that issue. Like, the AI will go as fast as it would go if it was daytime, so yeah, this is a little bit concerning. I added to the fact that it will be a longer endurance than the previous one also doesn't help. So far the second place still is Sin Wallace, and I think that that's the same guy that had the Sonda, so if there is a Porsche Spider it's still behind him. But the moment that name changes, that's when I'll start worrying. It's most likely no longer the Sonda. Ah, fuck. So the issue, I guess, well, I don't know if it's an issue or rather a fact that if it has taken this long to overtake, then it cannot possibly be that much faster. Like, it shouldn't. It's most likely gonna be equally as fast, or maybe not even faster. Maybe it's just that the way the Sonda works makes it better for this track. I don't think that... Well, that kinda makes sense if you take into account that a very big portion of this track are straights. So if you have a better top speed, you have a natural advantage that no one else has. Well, no one else that doesn't have your top speed has. But I guess there's that. Okay, the second place change. Now we have Anthony Clark. Yeah. Well, if that guy is a Porsche Spider, I have to prepare for the worst. Because now that no one is stopping him, he's probably gonna be on my ass right away. And at that point, the only way to stop him from overtaking is blocking him constantly. But I'm already struggling doing the track normally, so needing to worry about the track and whoever is behind me seems like a very bad idea, you know? It seems like it will be the case. Like if you look at, I mean, I cannot look at it too often, but if you look at the time, he is getting closer to me, and extremely quickly as well. So, yeah, I legitimately don't think I'm winning this. It's very messed up, but I think that this might be a defeat. Maybe Spa-Francorchamps is also another place where the AI is stronger. Though I do admit that the lack of sun here is an issue. Alright, so I need to pay attention here to know exactly what's the optimal place to start braking. Okay, before you start seeing the piano, that seems to be the right place to brake. Well, maybe even when you start seeing the piano. Just at that point I feel like it will be too late. Though that seems to be the logic mostly, like whenever the piano starts showing up, that's when you brake. I mean, that's kind of the point after all. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not a coincidence. That's what the track engineers probably were thinking. Like, the moment you see the piano, well, start stepping on the brakes. It's pretty clear that that's the case. Alright, well, that's good. It's just that you need to do it immediately as soon as you see the piano. Yeah, because otherwise that happens. Okay, I completely lost my all the lead that I won back, or like all the advantage. So, I mean, here I don't have any options. Like, I kinda need to get rid of this guy if I wanna win. Promise that getting rid of this guy is easier said than done. For the time being I can block, but I don't think that getting rid of him will be as easy as what I did in that oval attempt, that the guy was approaching me and I just crashed him against the wall. Here, I don't think that there is a place where I can easily just do that. So this is gonna be bad. But damn, that's crazy. It's an endurance where I actually have a chance of losing. So basically, after spending so much time in the race, I could actually lose. Damn. Very wild. It's what happens. I mean, that's how it should be in the first place. If anything, the other races were an anomaly. But man, that's wild that everything that you work for can just be finished that quickly. At least it will keep it interesting though. That also means that I most likely cannot talk as much as I did in the previous endurances, where I just basically was extremely relaxed. Like here I cannot possibly be relaxed. Like I need to be constantly focused on every single corner I make, because any advantage is obviously gonna help me. And seeing the lights behind me is quite a horror thing. And you know that they are gonna distract me, right? Like one of these I'm gonna be trying to block, and I'm gonna end up fucking up the corner because of it. I think that the smartest idea here will be restarting the race with another car, or by reshuffling the opponent. So here it seems that we have two Porsche Spider. Like the one that is in third place is most likely one of us two. It seems at least at the first half of the track I can do it relatively faster. It's the second half the one that seems like I cannot do fast. Yeah, this is not cool. This is not cool at all. Yeah, I guess it will be the first exciting endurance of the stream. So I kinda start falling apart here. Like, this is the first corner where I clearly don't make it as fast as I could. And this is where my opponent just approaches me super quickly because of it. So yeah, it is a problem, but I don't know how to do that faster. That's the fastest I can do it. Well, not to mention this super fast corner that this guy pretty much takes it at full speed. Well, I guess I could also do it like that with a very, very aggressive drift, but it's such a dangerous maneuver, you know? Well, the other spider is already here, so yeah, cool. Pretty nice. I think I used the brakes too much there, but I mean, our Rouge is not a corner that I can underestimate. Chances of that corner going horribly wrong are super high. You don't want to tempt fate there. It's so tense. Because you know, usually the tense races of games like this tend to be the short ones. But here, needing to be tense for 20 laps in a row is messed up. I don't think it's good for your mental health at all. At least for now I'm maintaining my distance, but the other problem is that it only takes one mistake, you know? One mistake and you're done. At least the final chicane, I can kinda cut it like that, and the AI does not cut it like that, so that is a way to gain time in a unique way that they cannot do. And the game doesn't count it as a cut, so you can do it as many times as you like with no repercussions. The interesting thing is that if it was like in the previous race, where the only Porsche that showed up is the one that got into an accident, and every of the remaining fast cars, or rather the fastest remaining cars, are the Sonda. If that happened here, I wouldn't have seen how scary this race is. It would have been impossible to see. Right now, I can see it very easily. I should play this race in Halloween. Very, very spooky race. Well, you know that Belgium is part French. And well, maybe not Halloween, but at least Walpurgisnacht, or whatever you pronounce it. That, I'm pretty sure, came from Germany. So it will be fitting, at least for the German part of Belgium. Because Belgium has a lot of parts. I think it has a French part, a German part, and another part that I'm not sure which one it was, but yeah. It's the way it works. Alright, so at least right now, with my current pace, if I am able to keep this current pace, the guy behind me won't overtake. But that's the issue, one mistake and yeah, like all of that goes to the trash. And of course he will make a mistake too, it's not really looking like he will, you know, by the way he's driving. So yeah, it all depends on me not doing mistakes. It also doesn't seem like the car behind him is bothering him. So that also means that he will probably continue to drive relatively optimally. I did that corner extremely slow. Hey, that's a corner that I'm never confident on. Less so at night time. And the thing is that you could call that a mistake, but to me that was not a mistake. To me that simply was not doing the corner well because I'm not good at it, but then even something like that is enough to fuck you up. Yeah, this guy is now sniffing my butt very closely. I don't like that. I just hope that the other guy, now that he should be a lot closer, at least starts bothering him, but I mean, it's the same logic as the guy behind me that he has towards me. He basically is very scared of overtaking, so he doesn't do anything. So yeah, I don't think they are gonna bother each other whatsoever, unfortunately. Oh, it's there. Someone crashing Eau Rouge. One of them at least. Nice. Well, is it nice? That was Anthony, by the way. So we have a new second place, Andrew Murray. I mean, it is a good thing because that basically takes one of them out of the equation, but there is still another one. And now that other one does not have anyone that could bother him. Aside from me, I guess, but that's the issue. Like, the idea is that they will bother each other, but now that's not the case. Though what I don't know if he's still alive, because if he's still alive, it's possible with the amount of laps remaining that he might make a comeback. At that point, I don't think he's gonna overtake this Andrew guy, probably. If there's Ah, fuck this corner so much, dude. Okay, now this guy's gonna get close. I was about to say if there's any corner to crash is that one, Au Rouge. It's gonna happen. I did that very badly too. So now this guy is gonna be close to me. So I guess for me, not much change. Except that now I guess I only need to focus on one. But yeah, the thing is that Anthony didn't really die. He's still in the race and very possible he will make a comeback. Though at that distance it's a little bit unlikely. But yeah, unfortunately, the thing is that that crash didn't happen on his own. It happened most likely because Andrew hurried him. So yeah, this Andrew guy can still be an issue. You know that here I just have the feeling that the nerves are the ones that are gonna cut me, right? Like, I'm pretty sure here that, assuming it doesn't happen before, in the final laps I'm gonna be so nervous I'm gonna choke and this guy is gonna overtake, and then I'm gonna be very salty and I'm gonna insult a lot and it will be a very bad way to end the stream, but yeah, all of that is not only very possible, but also it's the highest chance that something like that happens. At least this guy overtaking. Not sure if at the end of the race or not, but this guy will most likely overtake. I could also try to purposely take him out, but the issue with trying to take someone out is that if it goes wrong, you only fuck yourself over. And at that point there is no way to recover, like you're dead. Well, not like you're dead, but like you're not first. Also, by the way, you know that I haven't been able to dominate a single of the corners that weren't dominated at the beginning of the race, right? Pretty sure that I started with 7 out of 13 corners, and now at the beginning of lap 14 I'm still there. Yeah, pretty nice, honestly, pretty cool. Yeah, unfortunately this guy is just very close. We are waiting for a tragedy, but the tragedy being him overtaking, you know. I would rather have a tragedy that involves him crashing, though. No, that's terrible. He will overtake there. You lost your opportunity. It would have been there. Like, if instead of using the brakes you would have gone straight ahead, you would have overtaken easily there. But I'm glad you didn't, though. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm very glad you did that. I can't believe this corner and he overtook. It's over. It's absolutely over. I could try taking him out on the chicane, but I don't think I'm overtaking naturally here. It's absolutely fucking over. Wait, what? Wait, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You cannot just go off track like that and somehow think it's fine. Okay. Yes, that was that's also a problem. That's the first corner cut. But yeah, in corners like that, it's very common for that to happen if you have someone else next to you. This is gonna be a disaster until the final lap, basically. No matter how you look at it. Well, like as I say, at least it will be interesting, unlike all of the other endurances, but yeah, it's not good for my health. You know? All I'm saying is that if you're expecting me to win, you're most likely gonna be disappointed. But I guess expecting to be disappointed is what makes it so exciting, right? If I end up winning. Like, basically beating the odds. These corners here are my nemesis. I cannot do these corners properly. Or well, properly, I mean, I can. It's just that I cannot do them as fast as the AI does them. Properly, yeah, I do them properly. But it's not enough. Well, since this guy didn't mind doing that, I'll do that too, though. He did that faster this time. Man, I'm so tense. Why couldn't we have a chill end of the stream? Why did it have to be interesting? Oh, and by the way, the one with the... I just realized that the one with the fastest lap is Anthony. Which, well, ironically, it's not gonna win whatsoever. Because, you know... I'm not even sure in what position he is. Probably either third or fourth, if I had to guess. Then it will be a very safe guess. But yeah, doesn't seem like the fastest lap is gonna help him too much. Well, that's also what tells you that the chances of you getting overtaken are there. If you don't have the fastest lap, it's very clear that the lead is only temporary unless you are ready to constantly block. It seems pretty clear to me that the AI is not consistent on what tracks it is fast on. Because in Nürburgring GP they are very fast, in this track they are very fast, but in so many other tracks they are so bad, you know? So it's just one of those things that it's not consistent at all. Like, it seems that... Oh, I master the chicane, and no, it's not the only one. I also master another one at some point. Have no clue which one, and I guess I won't figure it out either, but... Nice, well... That's cool. I'm not sure why it doesn't say what my personal best is. Why wouldn't it say it? It's a little bit weird. Because I mean, I cut a corner, but I cut a single corner. That shouldn't be enough to nullify every other lap, right? It is enough to nullify the total time. Like, if this thing still had online, by cutting the track it wouldn't count for uploading your time, which is pretty fucked up, but yeah. That doesn't matter anymore, so yeah, who cares? Sure, what was my fastest lap to be 1 second behind it, but it's a little bit odd. Unfortunately, that guy got closer there. But it does seem like the corner where he loses the most speed is in Eau Rouge. Well, either that or maybe that final hairpin will be there too, I don't know. Okay. Things are not going that badly right now, but as I said, it's only a matter of a single mistake for all of this to not matter. So yeah. Never lose your focus. There are 3 laps remaining now, counting this one. Now this actually reminds me that the remaining endurances that apparently happen against a boss, I wonder if that boss is gonna be harder than the Porsche spiders. I kinda doubt it. I don't think there's been a single boss that is actually faster than a Porsche spider. Not to mention that I don't think there is a single boss that is a Porsche spider, so yeah. I don't think it's gonna be faster than this guy that is lighting my butt right now. I mean, when you look at the delta, like basically the time difference with my best lap, it makes sense that this guy is approaching, since I am clearly going slower than my best laps, but it's just that it's hard for me to tell how to not do those parts slower. Like, I really am trying my best, even if it might not look like it. So we're about to reach the 40-minute mark. But obviously it wasn't gonna be just 40 minutes. That's bad. Okay, that didn't count as a cut at least. You see, having another cut, even though we're close to the end, wouldn't be very good, because that means that the next cut, you're out. And at that point, I will probably be so careful that I will do some corners way slower than I normally would. But that being said, I'm already doing this corner slower than I should. Fuck. Now he's gonna be very close to me by the time I go to the corners that I do very slowly. Yeah, that ain't good. It's actually gonna go down to the final lap. Like whoever manages to be the winner. It didn't get decided any sooner than the very final moments of the race. Which is pretty cool. That's exactly how you want a race to be. But I feel like this is way too intense for me. And I could still lose. That's one of the times that you have to be thankful that the AI is not aggressive. Because if the AI was aggressive, this guy would have overtaken a very long time ago. He wouldn't be behind me like this. He would have overtaken, obviously. Final lap. It all comes down to this. No matter what. And unfortunately, I don't like how close he is at the beginning of the lap. Like, he's way too close. And that's a very bad start as well. Yeah, I think that the nerves are gonna get the best of me here. I'm gonna fuck up even the easy corners. Or at least the easier corners. I wouldn't consider these corners to be easy. They are just easier than the ones that come later. I'm a bigger fan of this distance, but it's still too early. Okay, I did that corner surprisingly fast that time, but yeah, the most important part is this one. That wasn't good, but I don't think any of my attempts there was good anyways. That's fine though. That, like, there is still the hairpin remaining, but he has never done the hairpin faster than I did, so this should be a victory. Though a pretty crazy victory. Damn, and I mastered the hairpin on the final lap. Nice. That's a perfect way to end it. Nice.
Great job, my man. Great job.
Whew. That was a hell of an endurance. So less than 44 minutes actually. Pretty cool, but then as you would expect, he was all of those guys are a Porsche Spider, to nobody's surprise. But then dude, that was very wild, so yeah. Whew. I'm gonna end the stream here, of course, though I do want to take a peek at what this endurance is.
Tommy Milner will be competing here in his Ray Hall Letterman BMW M3. Win the race, and that sweet machine gets added to your collection.
Yeah, that won't happen, but there is, as I've been told in chat, Nürburgring Nordschleife with 5 laps. Wait, twice? Really? So I'm assuming one is daytime and the other one is nighttime, because otherwise putting it twice in a row seems a little bit stupid, and I say a little because I'm feeling generous. Alright, well, at least, as also the guy in the chat say, that will probably take 40 minutes each, and 40 minutes will be, well, an hour and 20 minutes for 2 of them. Alright, well, at least the other endurances are done. I'm not sure with what I'm gonna start tomorrow's stream. Most likely with the Legends one, since it's the one that I have done the least of the remaining ones, but there is still some stuff remaining, though. At least I'm glad that that last endurance was so nice, right? But yeah, thanks everyone a lot for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next stream with more of this. So have a good one, and take care.